Are you ready for a jam-packed Marquette sports show with exclusive highlights and interviews?
Of course you are, so don't move. This is Golden Eagle Sports Report. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golden Eagle Sports Report, featuring exclusive interviews you won't see anyone else. I'm Dewayne Gage.
And I'm Brian Foley. We begin with Marquette men's basketball and their trip to New Jersey last Tuesday to face the Seton Hall Pirates for the second time this season. The Golden Eagles looking to win back-to-back games in conference play for the first time this season, and with the help of senior Jamil Wilson and his team-high 25-point, 10-rebound double-double, Marquette would do just that, taking down the Pirates on the road 77-66. MUTV Sports sat down with legendary Marquette Warrior Bo Ellis to talk about his experience being a part of the new ESPN 30 for 30 film Untucked, about the famous jersey he designed for MU's 1977 national championship team. Here's what he had to say.
You know, every year when I was at Marquette, every year around tournament time, Coach McGuire would come out with a new uniform. So that would be the Bumblebees, all the traditional ones that you've heard about. So what happened was Lloyd Walton went to Coach McGuire after sophomore year, junior year, and asked Coach to say, Coach, let Bo design the uniforms. And you know, most people know I went to Mount Mary College. I was the first male student ever to go to Mount Mary. And when Coach McGuire came to recruit me, he asked me what I wanted to major in, and I told him fashion designing. And he looked at me and paused for a long time. He really didn't have an answer for that, because knowing Marquette didn't have a designing program, he was a little stumped. So he told me, all right, let me get back to you on that. So make it a long story short, I went to school at Mount Mary. I could draw, I did the designing. So I went down to Coach's office where we talked. Coach told me to put something together. Lloyd Walton made the suggestion. I drew up a uniform, got some colored pencils, went back the next day and put him on Coach's desk, and he looked at it, he said, this is interesting. He said, let me take it to the people at Metlist and we'll get back. So we got together about a week later with the design people from Metlist, and that's how it came about. But I think the main reason was because I never wore my jersey tucked in. As soon as the game would start, I would pull mine out. Myself and Earl Tatum, the two of us, it was just something that was a habit. I didn't like playing with my jersey tucked in. It was more comfortable. So that's kind of how it came about. It wasn't like I just came out and said, I'm gonna design a jersey that's made outside the pants. That was a collaboration between the people at Metlist and myself, and that's how it basically, took forward. It was just a look. That's how we did. We didn't have any special attitude. We were nasty anyway. Anybody we played, we went right at. So we didn't need any extra incentives, to be aggressive or nasty or have a certain attitude. It just happened to be a look that, I wore my jersey outside the pants, and it was a new look, but there was no attitude or no extra incentives behind it, because we knew we were good. Actually, the year that I designed it, we ended up being 28-2 that year, so we had only lost one game before we faced Indiana to get to what would have been my second Final Four in 3 years. So it was nothing really about it that made us act any different. That was just a look, and we were comfortable with it, and that's how we did it.
On Friday, Marquette alum and star of NBC's Community, Danny Pudd, screened his film, Untucked, on campus. He sat down with our own Peter Fiorentino to talk about his first project as a director and Marquette basketball.
All right, well, right now I'm joined with Marquette alum from the class of 2001, Deidre College of Communication, and star of NBC's hit series Community, and now director of an ESPN 30 for 30 short film. Danny, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So can you just tell us a little bit about how the project came about, how it started?
What was your name again?
Peter.
Hey, Peter. So the project started actually with a conversation I had on Twitter with a friend, Dan Silver, who was involved with ESPN's 30 for 30 series. He's a producer there, and I'd been a huge fan of their series, and it literally was just like, just a conversation on Twitter, and then all of a sudden we kind of met. I had a couple conversations with him, and he asked if I had any interest in participating, if I had any ideas. I said yes. And I don't know why they agreed to it, but then I told them about this Marquette idea that I had about these jerseys, because I've always loved Marquette's jerseys. I think they're flashy. I think they're cool. I wish I could wear them all the time. I wear them to bed. And it turns out they agreed to do it, and here we are a year later. So I'm so excited, and it's been a really fun ride.
So you just talked about how you love Marquette jerseys. What was it like to be able to do a documentary about the school and your favorite sports program?
Well, Peter, it was awesome. I mean, because this is something I never really expected to happen. It's I've never directed anything, so it was like the chance to do something different was really cool. But especially because it was something that I just love, and I'm purely a fan. I love playing basketball, but you would feel awkward watching me play basketball. I'd feel fine, but you'd feel really uncomfortable for me, that I'd be injured in many ways. So to be able to do something like that and just appreciate it from a fan basis was really fun. I never really expected it.
So your character, Abed, on Community, he has a film degree. What do you think Abed would say to you, knowing that you had a film in Sundance, besides it being cool?
Well, I think first of all he would probably give me the double high five, just to be like, kudos to you. And then I think he would probably just tear my film apart at all the different times we cut, at some of the archival footage, at some of the sync issues. I think he would probably analyze it from a historical perspective, because there's some archival components here. Talk about maybe some color. It would probably hurt me to talk to Abed about this film. I'm going to stick with my mom's opinion on this one.
What do you think you learned the most about yourself doing this, since it was new territory for you?
A couple things. I definitely learned that just because I like something doesn't mean everyone else does. There's certain things that you might like just fall in love with while you're shooting, or little character things or stories. But I think for me, the tricky thing was trying to find a story that was well-rounded and that told one story and not 30. So I learned that I have a little bit of a scatterbrain kind of philosophy, and I had to sort of rein it in. It was a good exercise for that.
You just talked about it being tricky. What was the most challenging part, you think, of making this short film?
Well, I think for me, it's the first time I had this kind of experience, but when you're doing a documentary, at least for me, you realize the story changes every day, because all of a sudden someone says something that sends you on another journey through 1975, and someone's story about Al McGuire, and the championship run in '77 was another component of this story. Bo Ellis, just as a person growing up in Chicago. So there's so many different directions you can be taken in. And for me, it was a really fun project, because I got to learn so much about that time period, which I think has really influenced the Marquette program today and the community overall. So, but it was really hard trying to pick out which stories were the ones that would tell this story the best, because they're all equally important and all very cool.
So big game tomorrow, big weekend for everyone. Any predictions for the game?
Let's see here. It's a big game, Marquette, Xavier. It's National Marquette Day. We're sort of riding a little bit of a momentum wave. Yeah, I know. That's like here's my momentum wave, right?
What's the 3-game momentum wave?
We're going to keep it going. So this is going to be the momentum wave tomorrow. We're just going to go like that.
There you have it, momentum wave. Danny, thanks for joining us.
We're going to win!
Go Marquette.
Buzz Williams and the Golden Eagles looking to ride that momentum wave into their matchup with Xavier on National Marquette Day. Out at the BMO Harris Bradley Center, where they were celebrating team chaplain Father William Kelly's 90th birthday. Starting midway through the first half, Derek Wilson tips the ball away from Xavier. Wilson gets out on the break, where he finds an open Jake Thomas for 3. Golden Eagle fans starting to wonder if this was a game where Thomas would get hot. A few possessions later, Jameel Wilson hands the ball off to Todd Mayo, who hits a mid-range jumper. He finished with 13 points. Still in the first half, Jameel comes off a screen and nails the baseline J. Next time down the court, Derek Wilson threads a pass to Devontae, and that's a high percentage shot. Marquette led 39-29 at the half. Jumping ahead now, Wilson slides past the defense and takes it himself and puts in the crafty layup. Derek had a solid command of the offense all day. And remember Jake Thomas? Yeah, he had himself a game. This three here was one of his 6 total threes on the day. Seconds later, Jamil finds himself in the corner, and he gets the friendly roll for the bucket. Marquette withstood a late Xavier run to win 81-72 and moved to 15-10 behind Thomas's 18 points. For more on the game, we go to our own Shawnee Smith.
BMO Harris Bradley Center packed the house with an electric crowd on Saturday as the Marquette Golden Eagles beat the Xavier Musketeers 81-72 on National Marquette Day. Senior Jake Thomas led the team with a career high of 18 points as he went for 6 3-pointers from behind the arc.
Just been, working on my shot a little more. Usually I don't miss left and right. Now I was doing that for the last couple of games. So Lyle Wolf, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's our grad assistant. He told me we're waking up early before practice, like 5:15. I couldn't say no to that. And he's like, we're gonna make 500 shots before practice. And ever since then, it's starting to feel a little better.
I think Todd and Derek both did a really good job creating space for him. They face guard Jake. And the team we play Wednesday, they'll face guard him. And the team we play Saturday, they'll face guard him. He's used to that. But whether you can shoot or not shoot, you have to have space.
Jake Thomas, along with the rest of the seniors, accounted for 54 points of Saturday's total score. Jamil Wilson and Devontae Gardner both racked in 16 as Gardner went a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Coach Buzz Williams had nothing but good words to say about his senior squad.
Chris Otule there's crowns in heaven for who he is. And Devontae's starting to try. Jamil Wilson is finally back to Jamil. That changes our whole deal. And you can say what you want to say about Jake. If I had some pom-poms, I'd jump up and down for that kid.
Marquette received a lot of help on the offensive side due to Xavier's lack of ball control. With the Musketeers' 19 turnovers, the Golden Eagles were able to convert 27 compared to 9 points off of transition.
If you force 19 turnovers and you have 24 free throw makes and you only have 5 turnovers, you're probably going to have a chance. And I thought that our team did a really good job defensively, even though they shot 54%. I understand that. But there were 19 times we also got the ball, and they didn't get a shot.
The Golden Eagles' defense could be a result of the pumped-up attitude of the crowd during Saturday's annual National Marquette Day. Coach Buzz Williams comments on how special this day is to him and the team.
I'm thankful to be a part of it, and our kids were excited to play here because they knew it was not only a big game, but they knew it would be well supported. So I think that's really cool.
As Marquette moves to a tie for 3rd place in the Big East standings, they welcome Creighton to town on Wednesday. Reporting from the BMO Harris Bradley Center, Shawnee Smith, MUTV Sports.
On hand to watch Marquette at the BMO Harris Bradley Center Saturday was former Golden Eagle Dwight Buycks. Our own Mike Cianciolo caught up with the NBA guard at halftime of the game.
I'm here with 2009 to 2011 Marquette guard Dwight Buycks, who's with the Toronto Raptors. Dwight, what's it like coming back to see Marquette, especially on National Marquette Day, and getting such a warm reception?
It's great. This is home right here. It's also where I'm from too. But just being here, I grew a lot here. So definitely whenever I got a chance to come back here to watch these guys play, I definitely want to be here, and it felt great to be here today.
You're with the Toronto Raptors now. Did you ever think your path to the NBA would take you from Milwaukee to Belgium to France and now Toronto?
I actually know where my path to take me. As long as I just worked it hard, I was hoping that the best could work out for me, and I just never stopped. Just kept continuing to work, and my dream came true.
What was the feeling like when Toronto signed you during the summer league run you had this season?
It was a great feeling. It just shows that hard work goes a long way, and I've been working so hard, so it definitely was a blessing when it finally happened. But I just also wanted everybody to know that I was going to continue to keep working.
Back here at the Bradley Center, what's your fondest memory of playing here with Marquette?
We had a lot of fine memories here. We had a lot of battles here. I want to say that pretty much every game we stepped on the court here, it was always a tough one. And you know, I never forget plenty of games that we had here, so, you know, it was a lot of them.
Last question, what's your thoughts on Buzz Williams' team this season?
You know, they're young, they're working, and, you know, they're still learning, so, you know, they definitely just got to keep on working. And at the end of the day, when you continue to fight, you're gonna get out, you know what I'm saying, what it should be. But, you know, they had a couple rough games where, you know, they didn't do this right and execute this right, but they working so hard and just trying, and that's all we can ask for. That's all that Buzz been built since day one of me being here. No matter how many games we win, as long as we work hard every single day, that we're gonna give ourselves a chance.
Thanks, Dwight.
No problem, thank you.
Always nice to see former players come back and support their alma mater, Dewayne.
It definitely is, Brian. For now, we're going to send it over to our analyst, to Tim, to talk about more basketball. What's up, Tim?
Thanks a lot, Dewayne. I'm Tim Leibforth, joined here by our analyst Peter Fiorentino and Grant Becker. Guys, let's get into it right now. Men's basketball on Saturday. Jake Thomas went off, banging a bunch of threes home from deep. Is he going to keep this going? Is this a fluke, or what's going down the stretch for him?
No, Jake Thomas is a fluke. You know, we've seen this the entire season. We really don't know what we're going to get out of Jake Thomas at a given day. You don't know if he's going to go off for 18, go off for 10, or not score at all. Like a couple of games ago, didn't have any points. I had 3 fouls and 2 turnovers. So you don't know what kind of Jake Thomas you're going to get. This is more of a fluke. It's kind of embarrassing that as in your Marquette career, you've only scored 18 points. That's your career high. So in his entire time here, again, only 18. Kind of weak for me, Grant.
You know, I think Jake Thomas as a one-man show is definitely a fluke, but in that 3-guard lineup, when he's got Todd Mayo out there as another 3-point shooter, that allows him to get open for some more shots, and that's when he's knocking them down. So I don't really think it's a fluke, but I don't think he can do it on his own. He needs those other guards around him. That 3-guard lineup has really been working for them, and that's when Jake Thomas can excel.
Absolutely. Once they spread the floor out a little bit, get Jake an open look, knock it down all day, hopefully. Last few games here, we've started to see the real Jameel Wilson come out of the game. Just how vital is Jameel to this team, and how well does he put us in chances to win the game?
You know, I think Jameel is really the X factor of this team. Jameel, since the St. John's game, has kind of been the catalyst for these 3 wins. You know, Todd Mayo has played well. Jake Thomas played well in the last game. Devontae's been scoring a lot of points. But Jameel is second on this team in points. He's second on this team in rebounds. He's second on this team in assists. And he's second on this team in blocks. So he does a lot of different things for this team, and he can play well on both ends of the court.
Guys, I think one big thing you're forgetting is Jameel Wilson is 6'7", 220. This guy could go to the NBA if he reaches his potential. But the problem is we've been saying that for 2 years. So again, Jameel Wilson hasn't really gone up to his potential yet, but if he could, and he really is on a roll right now, and especially because of this Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament, if Marquette gets there, could be a huge plus kind of plug for his NBA career if he does get there. So we're looking forward to Jameel kind of making big plays down this stretch of the last few games here.
Absolutely. Last week against Providence, he made it rain. He dropped a bunch of points down. That was great to see. Riding the longest winning streak of the year this season, 3 games. Can Marquette pull an upset Wednesday, beating Dougie Fresh and the Creighton Blue Jays, ranked number 11 in the country? What do you got?
To be honest with you, Tim, I do not think we're gonna beat Creighton. Doug McDermott averaging 25.9 points per game. That's the most in the entire NCAA. Last time Marquette played Creighton, they rained 13 3-pointers on us. And to be honest with you, Marquette's perimeter defense is just not that great this year. And so I can expect Doug McDermott to do the exact same thing as he did last time out against Marquette, and Creighton's going to destroy them tomorrow.
You know, I got a Buzz Williams quote for you here. Derek Wilson can guard anybody who's 6'8", 250 and under. Doug McDermott is 6'8", 225 pounds. It's a good matchup there. If Derek Wilson can play the same defense that he played on Saturday against Xavier, he can slow Doug McDermott down. And that's really all we have to do. That's what this team has to do to win. But I believe that they proved against Villanova that they can beat anybody in the game, because that Villanova team made everything that day. So many in-your-face defended shots they drained. If Marquette can play that kind of defense, they'll give themselves a great chance to win this game.
If we could just suffocate Dougie Fresh just a little bit, make him pass the ball, maybe we can get a chance. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys. Hey, Dewayne, what do we got next for the next block?
Well, Tim, coming up, we've got women basketball, and we'll hear from the new women's volleyball coach. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Danny Pudi, and you're watching the Golden Eagle Sports Report. Golden Eagle Sports Report. Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Marquette women's basketball was on the road last Tuesday in Rhode Island to face Providence. The Lady Golden Eagles will get another road victory against the Friars, beating them 71-64. In just her junior year, guard Alicia Morris became the 24th player in Marquette women's basketball history to score 1,000 points. Marquette improved to 16-7 overall and 7-5 in the Big East. On National Marquette Day, Marquette women's basketball team squared off with the Xavier Musketeers at the Allen Garage Center. Heading to the first quarter, senior Katie Young gets the ball baseline and did not settle for the jumper, working that baseline like former Marquette guard Dewayne. putting the Golden Eagles up by 1. Still in the first half with 3 minutes left to go, sophomore Lauren Tibbs makes a tough hook shot to extend Marquette lead to 4. But Xavier wouldn't go away just yet, as Ashley Weniger nails her first 3 after missing 4 in a row, but she had that shooter short memory as she ties the game up before halftime. She would eventually end the game going 5 for 12 from behind the arc. Moving to the second half, Chelsea Butler shot, no, that was a planned pass, Brian, to Alicia Moore for her field goal to put Marquette up by 10. But the Musketeers just didn't have enough for Marquette, as Moore sealed the game with a 3-point field goal as the Golden Eagles get the win at home 75-54 over Xavier.
During Saturday's men's basketball game, new volleyball coach Ryan Theis was introduced to the media. Here's what he had to say.
Marquette is the place I've always wanted to be in. I probably applied for the assistant job when I was younger 1 or 2 times. I love the Milwaukee area. I think Marquette is a phenomenal place, and so for me it was more about as soon as the job opened, it was trying to get a foot in the door. It was a place I knew I wanted to be. I'm familiar a little bit with the style of play. I'm familiar with some of the things that Bond does offensively, defensively. And this before we start spring ball over this next month, the key is I've got to learn what we have returning. I've got to watch some video on this team the last fall, and I got to see what we need to get better at. You know, right now it's more the immediate future. It's more trying to keep this team together. They're a really good group. They're talented. They're good kids. They do well in the classroom. They do well in the community. Right now I want to keep that together. And you know, in terms of overall goals, what I talk to them about is, you know, we want to be competing for Big East championships. We want to be competing into the NCAA tournament. We want to be playing in it as long as we can and playing our best volleyball at the end of the year. And if we're doing those things, we'll have chances to advance, hopefully deep into the NCAA tournament. I'm excited in general. I mean, I think a really positive response from when I was announced as the head coach. I reached out to all of them yesterday on the phone, left messages, got some callbacks. You know, Megan Neiman seems to be a pretty vocal leader on the team. Very excited about how positive she is about me being here and how excited she is moving forward. And I said, you know, I got the job. I accepted started on Friday. Met all of the players today. And we'll start practice on Monday. And I needed to be here and get it going because these guys need a coach.
Things are changing for Marquette volleyball with Bon Szymanski out and Ryan Theis in, Dewayne.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. For more on volleyball, let's spike it over to our analyst. Tim?
Thanks, Dewayne. Back at the analyst desk here for one last time. Guys, Terry Mitchell's team won 2 straight games against DePaul tonight. How do those games help preparation for that game?
No, they really don't help. You know, when you play 2 really bad teams, and you know, those 2 teams, like you mentioned, maybe have not won their past couple of kind of the bottom of the Big East. Not really looking forward to those to be kind of a strength going into the end of the season. After you play a bad team, you kind of play soft. Going into a harder game, a bigger game, a little more difficult to kind of get going. But I'm confident that Terry Mitchell knows how to coach the big games.
Absolutely, Grant.
You know, even if those are 2 softer games on the schedule, it's good to get those 2 wins going. You know, some could say that the Marquette win against Butler wasn't necessarily, the men's win against Butler wasn't necessarily a difficult win, but it's still a big game. So to get those 2 wins before an important game like DePaul tonight is huge for that women's team, and they need to ride that momentum tonight if they want to win this one.
Definitely got to keep it going. Marquette has 3 road games left on their schedule and currently sitting 5th in the Big East. Can they make up ground before tournament time?
You know, they're a half game back right now of Villanova and 1 game back at Creighton, and then that's to get into 3rd place. And tonight against DePaul is a tough matchup, and then they have Creighton at home as well as Villanova on the road and St. John's, who's winning the conference right now, on the road. So they have a very tough conference schedule remaining, and I don't know that this team can really pull it together. They're going to need to focus on the Big East tournament.
You know, if Terry Mitchell wants to rally her team to do this, she's really going to have to, again, rally her team. She's a veteran coach, knows exactly what she wants to do, and so I think she's going to be able to turn around.
Let's hope so. We got to get some wins together. Former Ohio University coach Ryan Theis was named the new head coach for Marquette volleyball this past Friday. What are your guys' expectations for Theis, this team, and this upcoming season?
You know, he lost 2 veterans and has a lot of young players, so I'm really going to go with he's really got a good team and win another Big East championship.
You know, the incoming recruits are going to be huge for this team, and they ought to win the Big East with the players they have coming back next year.
Yeah, let's see what they got. Thanks, guys. That'll do it for us. Back over to you, Dewayne.
Thanks, Tim. We got time for one more segment, and we're going to end it on the call of the game for Marquette's women's basketball game versus Xavier Saturday. Here's our own Mike Cianciolo and Mike Beermaster with the call.
We mentioned it right before the half started. Brooklyn Pomeroy, she's not going to get playing time with 4 turnovers, and Ashley Santos is starting the second half at the point guard spot. Santos with 1 left on the. Oh! Ashley Santos!
She's got a dinner reservation for 3, Mike.
Dials one up, and her prayers are answered at the end of the shot clock. My goodness. That was an NBA 3.
That's going to do it for this edition of Golden Eagle Sports Report. Thanks for watching.
For our analysts, Tim Leibforth, Peter Fiorentino, and Grant Becker, and my co-host, Dewayne Gage, I'm Brian Foley. Good night, Marquette.